How's it going, Top Forest TV? My name is Chuck, and welcome to my review of the Blackburn game that's just finished at the City Ground. I don't really know what to say, to be honest. Another disappointing defeat. I think first half we were okay. I think Blackburn were okay as well, to be honest with you. I missed the first sort of 5 minutes, I think. But other than that, I think we looked okay. Had a couple of chances in the first half. It was a real shame seeing Asaya Tutu having to go off through injury. I think Gabriel did decently well at left back, other than getting himself sent off. Finn Back came on off the bench, and I think he had a very decent first league game or first league involvement. I think he looked pretty decent, got himself stuck in, got himself going forward. But, I think, again, another loss. That's 3 losses in a row. Last season it was 4 losses in a row to start off the season. So, it's not looking great. It's just so frustrating, so disappointing to watch, because we weren't that bad second half, really. They scored. I missed that goal as well. Actually, I was I wasn't watching at that time. I was downstairs, unfortunately. But they scored, and then we looked pretty decent, trying to get ourselves back into the game. The referee didn't really give us many decisions. Soft fouls he gave to them. There were some times where, like, Myton was hauled to the ground and the referee didn't give anything, which was very frustrating. But you can't blame the referee. If you're good enough to win the game, you win the game regardless of anything that the opposition do. Anything that the referee does. And we weren't. I think we had good spells. Zinchenko looked good. Johnson looked good, and this really frustrates me. And I don't want Houghton. I'm not a man who usually shouts for the manager's head. I don't say, get him out, Houghton out. But he really confuses me. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't understand what goes through his mind. Like, he looks to bring on Carvalho. He's got Jack Cole back on a yellow card, a defensive midfielder. A risk of him potentially getting sent off. Quite a combative midfielder. Gets himself stuck in. You think take him off, change to a maybe a 4-4-2, for example, or change to a 4-1-2-1-2. Put Cole back in front of the defence. Have Carvalho in behind, Myton alongside. Grabbing up front with Johnson and Zinchenko out wide, but no, he brings off one of our most attacking threats, one of our most dangerous players going forward, who causes so many problems for the defenders in Alex Myton. Yes, he brings on Carvalho, but it's just, what's the point, man? If you're going for a game, if you're going to try and win a game, trying to get back into a game, why leave a defensive player on it to bring on an attacking player for another attacking player? Like against Bournemouth, he took off Grabban for Taylor, or Taylor for Grabban, I think it was actually. And left on 2 defensive midfielders. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. I really don't understand. I'm struggling to find a reason why he's doing it. Maybe he doesn't want to disrupt the structure of the team. Maybe he thinks that we need 2 defensive players. But if you're going for a game, you want your attacking players on. It really baffles me, and I just can't wrap my head around it. It's just so annoying because, it's been so long since we've been, been in the Premiership, longer than I've been born. It's been so long since we've really experienced success. I mean, I guess you could say the Sabri season was successful. Sorry, my camera's not very straight, I don't think. The Sabri season was successful up until COVID. Then that fell down, and since then it's never been the same. Karanka started off all right, tailed off quite heavily. I think the only time we really had a season where you could say we had proper success was about 12 years ago, I think, when we got to the playoffs and lost to Blackpool, when we finished 3rd. I think you have to go that far back, really, to identify a season when we were actually good. like really, really good for the whole season. You know, and again in that season we didn't keep being good for the whole duration. I think the Sabri season, yeah, you can call that successful. The first Sabri season he had the full season for. But other than that, it's just no. Oh man, it's so frustrating. Like, I don't particularly want Houghton to go because he's got such a good track record in the Championship. One of the best managers of getting clubs out of this, and maybe it's just a blip. Start of the season, he's getting players used to things. Maybe he's not been able to maybe get in the players he wants, for example. And we might be fine. You know, we might win against Stoke and go on a nice little run, and everything will be fine. But I just can't see it happening personally, and I don't like being negative. I want to be positive when talking about football because you got to you support your club. You know, you give them support. Not you don't what's the word? Pull them down. But I just don't get it. I just don't get some of his decisions sometimes, and his tactics. I don't know whether they're right for this modern day. Maybe going back 10 years, maybe they might have been what you needed to get out of the Championship. Good, solid defensive team. But it's okay playing negative, playing defensive, but you need to get results. Like, why play defensive and lose games? Like, that contradicts itself wildly. That's being like, we're attacking side, but we can't score. Like, you what? We're a defensive team, but, we've conceded 6 goals in 3 games. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I think if he goes, which I don't particularly want him to go because I think he's a great manager, he's a brilliant person, and he's someone that I believe can get us out of this mess. But if he does go, please, and I know probably no one from Forest is going to see this who's got any decision in who the manager is, but please do not bring in a defensive manager, please. We brought in O'Neill, defensive. Karanka, defensive. We had Sabri, defensive. Houghton, defensive. The only one that really saw any success was Sabri, but his defensive negative ways at the end of the season cost us. Like, yeah, okay, Sabri was a bit more counter-attacking. He had that, we could defend so good pressure, but he had that going forward, he had a plan. But it just doesn't look like they have a plan. I mean, yeah, we had Warburton who was attacking, and that didn't particularly work. But you look at Scott Parker, for example, was at Fulham. He's quite an attacking manager, got them up. Leeds, you've got Bielsa, quite a high-paced, attacking, high-tempo, high-energy manager, smashed the league in the season he went up, absolutely banged it out. I just don't, oh man, just please. I don't want him to go, Chris Houghton, because I think, maybe he might get a couple of more players in and everything will be fine. We might be able to ride this out and we'll be okay. And I never like to call for the manager's head because, I know I could do, nowhere near the sort of job he's doing. I'd be absolutely awful. Okay, I got us promoted first time asking on the Football Manager, but that's totally different to real life management. Obviously it is. Just let you know, I did play attacking football, attacking high possession, high energy football, but that's by the by. I don't want to call for the manager's head because, I could never do anywhere near the level of job that they're doing. But I just think we need someone who is a bit more, maybe even a bit more balanced, maybe can play front foot and back foot football. I just want someone to come in who's not going to sit back and try and nick a 1-0 because it just doesn't work. You look at Sabri, tried to get 1 point in a 0-0 against relegation for the Barnsley and lost in the last minute. It just doesn't work, and I don't know whether they can't see it, whether they just I don't know. But it's so frustrating and so annoying to watch. Sorry if my camera shook there. It's just so annoying to watch, and I really want to see Forest play positive football for a change. move the ball forward. I don't mind so much coming short, but playing in a way that shows we're trying to win games. But when you're sitting back playing negative defensive football and still losing, it just doesn't really make any sense to me. Like, I don't like being negative. I don't want to call for the manager's head. I want to try and pick out positives. And we had a really decent spell, a really good spell. Zinchenko looked really good today. Johnson played well. Martin played well before he was pulled off. Cavani didn't really get much of a chance. Graben did really well, keeping the ball for their goal. Finn Back looked good. Figueiredo played well, apart from one moment where he had a bit of a lapse in concentration and played an awful back pass to Samba. You can't really blame Samba for their second goal. Maybe he came rushing out for that corner a bit stupidly, but, you know, it's just really, really frustrating, and it's a really difficult one to take. Hopefully against Stoke we can turn things around and maybe we can get something out of it. I don't know. It's going to be hard. If Houghton's still in charge, I'd like to see him still in charge. I want to see him get a fair crack at the whip. But, you know, we go 1-0 down like we did against Bournemouth as well. Get back in the game and we lose, you know.